This is the second video on basic programming. This is where we left off on the first video. And I'm going to show you how to use variables today and also how to use mybricks. So in the last video, we were going forward and these two did the same things. I go forward until I see a white line. So I can either go wait until I see the white line on my color sensor in the C port, do a smiley face, wait half a second, turn the motor off. Or I can do forever. If I see a white line on C, I do a smiley face, 0.5 second wait, and I stop the motors. Bam. So either one of these will do the same thing. So I'll show you how to use mybricks. So when your code gets really long and complicated, you can ease it down. So in the bottom, I have something called myblocks. Bam. And I was going to say make a block. And you can name it anything you want. I'm going to go forward. So this is going to be my forward block, and I can go save. So now I have a block that's forward and define forward, right? So define forward, I want forward to speed at 25, both motors on, and I do a forward arrow. Bam. So now when the program's name, it goes forward, it goes over here and does this. Bam. So let's say now that I want to do something on the, I want to stop on the third white line. So instead of the first one, I want to stop on the third one. So somehow I need to count my my white lines, and I need a variable to do that. So a variable is how a computer remembers information. So anytime I got to store something, how many times something happened, stuff like that, the value of something, I need a variable. So I'm going to do a variable, and I'm going to make one, and since I'm counting white line, I'll go white count. Yeah, but you can name it anything. Meaningful names is the best. So I have basically now I have a white count. I have set it to whatever I want, and I can change it by something. So I can increase it, decrease it. I can set it to whatever I want. Bam. See if I can get rid of this screen. There we go. Bam. So now I want to go forward, and I want to count the lines. So I don't want to use a wind. I want to do this forever because I want to keep doing this guy. So I'm going to go rid of these guys. I'm going to use this option today. So I go forward. So if I see a white line, bam, what I want to do, I want to increase my white count. So my white count starts by 0 every time it sees one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to do it rather quickly sometimes. So if I change this, I want to make sure that I go past the white line before it counts again. So typically I do a little wait block beforehand. So maybe it's going to take half a second to go past the line is what I'm going to say. So basically now I see the line, I change the white count by 1, and I wait half a second. I also probably want to see what it actually is saying, how many lines did I go through, so I can see if it works. So in my light bricks, see I can write something. So as I change it up here, now I can write, I don't want to write hello, I want to write what my variable is. So I go to my variable, grab my white count. Bam. So now I'm going forward forever. I'm going to check if I see a white line. Whenever I see a white line, I change my white count by 1. So 1, 2, 3, whenever I see it, I display what it is, and I wait just a little bit so I know it passes the line. So you might have to change this, smaller, bigger, whatever. You just see how it works in yours. Does it go past the line, but does it sense the next line? So let's say I have that. So now it'll basically display what it's doing as it's going in. So for example, I could make now, I could go count. I could make a my block that says count white lines, and I could substitute this with that block. Bam. So let's say now that I want to stop on the third line. So again, whenever I want to ask a question, I use a if statement. So I go into my control and I have an if statement. So now I want to go if my white count equals 3. So now I go into my, see these operators? I have greater than, equals, smaller than, equal, greater than, all these different things I can do. So I go in, grab this guy, bam. So if again, my variable, if my white count equals 3, what do I want to do? Maybe I want to stop, do a smiley face. I want to wait 5 seconds and I want to stop. Bam. So now I go in, it's going to be separate. So I have two separate if statements. So I have one if statement counts the line, one if statements will stop on 3. So I go in now. If I put them inside each other, right, that won't work because this guy, well, sometimes it'll work, but sometimes won't. This guy will only execute if this was true. So typically I want to, depending on what I'm doing, keep them separate. So I have one if statement followed by another if statement. Bam. So now I'm going forward. Forever, I'm checking if I'm on a white line. If I am, I increase my variable white count by 1, 1, 2, 3, whatever it does. I display it, then I wait half a second to be sure that I passed the line. On this guy, this other if statement, if my white count is 3, then I go in and I display a happy face, and I wait half a second, and then I stop the motors. Bam. So I hope this makes sense with my blocks and variables.